Welcome back to Everyday English Tips. Ready to speak English faster and better? Let's jump in.
Today, we're digging into something quite specific. A set of notes, basically, some excerpts focused on learning English, specifically how to talk about, well, your daily life.
That's right. And this material, it makes a really strong case, actually, that getting a handle on describing your routine, the everyday stuff, isn't just a nice to have. It argues it's like fundamental.
Absolutely. So our mission here is to unpack what this source is saying, pull out the key ideas, the practical bits, and see how you might use this approach to, well, get better at English faster.
Sounds like a plan. Where should we start?
Well, let's just jump right in with the why. The source really hammers this home, why talking about daily life is apparently one of the most important things for learners.
Yeah, it doesn't just say it's a topic. It says it's like top tier importance.
So why?
Yeah.
Why the big emphasis? What makes it so crucial according to this source?
Well, I think what's interesting is how this source links it to overall fluency. It's not just about learning phrases like, I brush my teeth. It's framed as building a really strong base. And the logic, which makes a lot of sense, is basically repetition.
Oh, okay.
Your daily life happens every day, right? You wake up, you eat, you go somewhere, you come back. The source points out this gives you constant, natural chances to use the same kind of language again and again.
Like Big Ten practice.
Exactly. It's like building muscle memory, but for language patterns.
Yeah.
That constant reuse really helps things sink in,
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not abstract stuff you might use once a month. It's the language for, well, just living, talking to friends, colleagues.
Or ordering coffee, small talk. It's immediately useful.
In this resource, it doesn't just say, this is important, good luck. It gets practical straight away, doesn't it? It gives actual words and phrases.
Yeah, it lays out the building blocks, a core list of vocabulary tied directly to these daily things.
Okay, so let's get specific. What are some of those key words and phrases the source flags as essential?
Sure. The list is very down to earth. It includes wake up, brush my teeth, take a shower, eat breakfast.
The morning routine basics.
Exactly. Then go to work, school, come home, make dinner, watch TV, and go to bed.
So, pretty standard stuff, but why these specific ones, do you think? I mean, people do lots of things every day.
That's a really good point. Looking at the list, it seems the source focused on actions that are almost universal, right? High-frequency things that structure a typical day for most people.
Okay, yeah. Beginning, middle, end of the day type actions.
Right. So by starting with these, learners get a kind of foundational vocabulary set. They're immediately usable, and they help you describe the overall skeleton of your day. It feels like a strategic starting point.
A scaffold, like you said. And they don't just leave you with a list of words. The next step in the source material is putting them together, right, into actual sentences.
Yes. Moving from the words to simple, complete sentences you can actually say.
Can you share some of those examples? They seem pretty straightforward in the notes.
They are, yeah. Very clear. Things like, I wake up at 7 a.m. every day. Or, I usually eat cereal for breakfast.
Yeah.
Also, after work, I like to relax and watch a show. And I go to bed around 10 p.m. and one about weekends. On weekends, I meet my friends and go shopping.
Simple, clear structures. But the really crucial bit of advice the source gives here, I thought, was about changing them.
Oh, definitely. That's key. It doesn't just say repeat them. It says try changing the time or the food or the activity to match your actual life.
And why is that step, the personalization, so important for learning?
Well, think about it. Just repeating, I wake up at 7 a.m. If you actually wake up at 6, it's just parroting, isn't it?
Right. Passive.
But when you have to stop and think, okay, I wake up at 6:30, or, I have posts, not cereal, you're actively using the language. You're mapping it onto your own reality.
Ah, I see. So it forces engagement.
Exactly. And that personalization, that connection to your own experience is massive for memory. Our brains just hold on to things better when they relate directly to us. It stops being textbook English and starts being, your English.
That makes total sense. You're making it immediately relevant to your world. And the source even shows how to use this in, like, a mini conversation.
Yeah, it includes a little example, kind of a role play.
What kind of interaction does it show?
It's a very basic Q&A, like what time do you wake up? I wake up at. What do you eat for breakfast? I usually eat. It uses the exact vocabulary and sentence patterns we just discussed.
So it shows how these simple pieces immediately work for actual communication.
Precisely. Small talk, getting to know you stuff, it demonstrates the immediate payoff.
And another point this source stresses is practicing out loud.
Yes. Big emphasis on that.
Why is speaking it aloud so important, even if you're maybe just practicing by yourself?
Because language learning isn't just about knowing things in your head, right? It's about producing the language. Saying the words out loud helps you get your mouth around the sounds, practice the rhythm, the intonation.
Physically doing it?
Yeah, exactly. It builds that oral fluency. It bridges the gap between passive knowledge, understanding the words, and active use actually saying them. It's like rehearsing.
Got it. You have to actually make the sounds to get good at making them. So, okay, for someone listening now thinking, right, I want to try this, what concrete steps does the source suggest for daily practice?
It gives a nice little checklist, actually. Very actionable.
Oh, good. Like what?
Okay, it says, first, try to talk about your day in English. Either say it out loud, maybe to yourself, or even write it down in a journal.
Okay, active production.
Then, listen to daily English. And yes, it specifically mentions podcasts, like the one this source material probably came from.
Yeah, naturally. What else?
Use resources like apps or YouTube videos to hear and repeat real phrases. Get that input and practice mimicking.
Makes sense. Listening and repeating.
And, crucially, try to practice speaking with another person if you can. If not, record yourself. Listen back to hear how you actually sound. Work on pronunciation.
Right. Getting some kind of feedback, even if it's just from listening to yourself.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid list. Speaking, writing, listening, feedback.
It covers the bases for integrating it daily. And then there's one final tip in that section that sort of pulls it all together.
What's that?
The source says, and this feels like the main message really, the more you connect English with your own life, the faster you'll improve.
There it is again. Back to the personalization. Why does that connection make such a difference to the speed of learning?
It just makes the language stickier, doesn't it? When you use I wake up at, and you're actually thinking about your morning, your alarm clock, that phrase becomes way more meaningful.
And just seeing it on a page.
Absolutely. It's tied to your senses, your routine, your reality. That strengthens the memory. Plus, it feels useful right away because you're describing the life you're literally living. It stops feeling like homework and starts feeling like a tool.
A tool for talking about yourself. So the most effective path is making it all about you.
According to this source, yes, that seems to be the core argument.
Okay, so if we boil down the main takeaways from this source material, focus on daily life because it gives you 1, essential words,
High frequency vocabulary, yeah.
2, simple sentence patterns you can use immediately,
Repeatable structures.
and 3, endless chances for practice because you live your life every day.
And it's that consistent, personalized practice that really drives fluency. That's the engine, according to this source.
It really shows the power in describing what seems like, the boring, mundane parts of life.
Turns out they're not so mundane when it comes to language learning. And that emphasis on consistency, on tying it to your reality, that's what makes it work.
Right. So building on that final idea from the source connecting English to your life, here's something maybe to think about. If you were to stop right now and just mentally list what you did today.
Using this approach.
Exactly. Using this method. What parts of your day could you already describe with the words and sentences we talked about? Wake up, eat breakfast, etc. And then maybe the more revealing question is, what words or phrases would you immediately realize you don't have? What parts of your specific day are missing from that basic list? What are the personal vocabulary gaps that this whole approach instantly shines a light on for you?
That's a great way to think about it. Identifying exactly what you need next.